Careless with Cash, the Empire.
And welcome back to World Soccer Daily, an Arc Soccer Collective podcast, Ep.4. Back with you guys again. I got my buddy Wendell. How you doing, Wendell?
Sir, doing good, man. I won in 4 out of 5 fantasy leagues this weekend, so
Well, I am not.
you're feeling good.
As always, you can like, subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms, arcsoccercollective.com. Make sure you guys give us a like, a rate. If you don't, like Bomani Jones said, you're a hater. Let's get into this this weekend's play. We're gonna start with the EPL, then we're gonna get into the El Clasico game. That we're gonna be talking about that we're gonna be talking about that for God knows how long. There's so much to talk about. But let's start with EPL. West Ham United versus Leeds. West Ham again is in a downward spiral. 2-1 loss against Leeds United. My clear takeaway from this game, from the U.S. national perspective, is our boy Brandon Aronson getting that goal. Looked good for him. Looked great for him. A great game, but I really want to talk about West Ham. So, as you and I have spoken before in the past, West Ham's kind of this team that used to have this. Will they become an elite team in the EPL? Will they become fighting for Champions League spots? Will they compete? Paqueta's again that engine that I always talk about, but it's not looking well. What do you think is going on over there?
I don't know. It's really weird because, like you said, it's like a will they, won't they kind of thing. So right now, it's looking like they won't. I think it has something to do with like their recruitment team and how they're recruiting players and stuff like that. And a lot of them don't really seem motivated to play right now. It seems like they're just kind of going through the motions a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like a manager thing or, if it's a team leadership thing. But yeah, they look weird right now.
Yeah, and when you because for me, when I was watching the game, it was just like it's the same as the last game they lost. You just see a lot of visible frustration on the field, especially from Paqueta. It's just like he's looking around like, what are we doing? And it's like to go from the celebration he had earlier when they had the transfer rumors where he scores the goal and hangs up the phone and kisses the crest to now seeing him just be this guy that's just seems visibly over it. He just looks like I'm done. I want to get out of there. What a quick fall from grace.
Yeah, it kind of looks like how Bruno Fernandes looked a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
He kind of just looked over. So I don't know. Maybe it's like maybe they're on this like roller coaster ride where, things are low right now, but it'll get better in a couple weeks or this week coming up. But I don't know what they need to do to fix it.
Do you think they stick with their manager, Nuno Santos?
I think if they lose 2 more games, they will. They won't. So
here's my thing. This is his first year. For me, I'm always going to be on this, especially after what Mikel Arteta is doing. I'm always going to be, let's figure this out. Let's keep him around and figure the situation out. But if you lose Paqueta, I don't know what this team has left to figure out.
Yeah, figure out who the sponsor is going to be when they're in the championship next year.
Yeah, and and just to kick it back to Leeds United for a second, the ball movement was amazing. I like that. I like that this team is progressing well, and I think they're gonna be something that we can look forward to in the future to maybe be what we think West Ham is. But again, this is a very interesting game for me, and the next fixture for West Ham is Newcastle. So who knows what happens with them meeting a mid-table team and they're struggling to advance. But you could speak better than Newcastle than I can. You're the Newcastle expert over here. How do you think that game's gonna fare for them?
Kind of depends on how Newcastle does midweek in the Champions League. What injuries come out of those games or whatever. But the way they look like they're on an upward trajectory right now in Newcastle, so it could be dangerous for West Ham.
Yeah, and then West Ham falling further down on the West Ham is in the same position. I think that. Well, maybe not in the same position that I would put Liverpool in, but they're in that same kind of like need for something. They need a charge quickly, and it's just like I don't know if you're gonna be able to do it against West Ham at this point because just looking at how the team has progressed at to this juncture, I don't see it. But they need something because I'm always gonna have a soft spot in my heart, even though I'm a Chelsea fan. I'm always gonna have a soft spot in my heart for West Ham because I love a team that comes out of nowhere and competes. But just to see them fall from that grace has just been kind of sad to see. But hey.
And somebody got to fall.
All right, let's move on to Chelsea Sunderland. Speak of the devil. Chelsea lost 2-1 to Sunderland. The silver lining in this game for me though is Garnacho got his first goal for Chelsea. He looks comfortable out there, and I will say this before we get into like the actual gameplay and how it fared for Chelsea. After Garnacho got that goal, I saw the monkey. You could visibly see the monkey getting off his back, and he was just taking out. He was taking every opportunity he could after that to score because he finally got that taste of it. So I do think he's going to enter that phase that we see all these other ex-Manchester United players in this season go to, where they're finally getting comfortable on the ball and they're moving and doing pace and they're playing with some sort of connection. And it's almost like what you said. He's got so many guys around him now that it's almost hard for him not to fail, especially with all the other wingers they have out there. It's like it's a plug and play system for him at this point. But with that aside, they still lost the game.
Still lost the game.
I'm kind of I mean Sunderland at this point is it's reminding me of Hull City a couple of years ago where they had that early start to the season where they're top in the Premier League, because right now when I was Sunderland sitting fourth, it looks good for them, but obviously I don't think this is a sustainable performance level for them. But at the end of the day, this isn't good for Chelsea to drop these points so early. Man City's out of the picture, right? Well, not out of the picture. Man City is trailing behind Arsenal right now, and I thought this was kind of like Chelsea's time to strike to make that play for one or two, position 2. But right now, they can't be dropping these easy points, and I don't know where we go from here to progress. But what do you think was going on with that?
I don't know. I think Sunderland, as much as I don't like them, they look like a team on a mission right now. They look like a team that can and probably will finish in the top half of the table. If I'm being honest, they're probably finishing 9th or 10th. Maybe even 8th if they surprise us a couple games. So yeah, I think it was more of a Sunderland looking really good more than Chelsea looking bad, I think.
Yeah. And that last and the goal in stoppage time, it was just like one of those situations where to me it just looked like Chelsea kind of gave up on the play. I forgot who had the ball, but he had his back to goal, holding up possession, wait for a support to come and make that pass and score. And it's just like I was sitting there looking at the game, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. Where's the rest of the Chelsea team? It's like everybody just kind of waiting for him to score. It looked like a pickup goal to me, like a pickup game goal.
Low key, yeah.
And I was like, well, all right, how bad does Chelsea want it? Because this is one of those games you can't give up points. If it was a tie, that's one situation. I still don't think that's acceptable for Chelsea with where you want to be as a club. But to lose in that manner, it doesn't fare well for anybody in Chelsea right now.
Yeah. What do you think? You think Garnacho still starts after this?
I mean, you kind of have to start him, right? Because he finally got that. You got to see where he can take it from here with getting that goal and seeing how creative and how confident he is coming into the next game. Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna be a guy who gets as much playtime as maybe an Estevao or a João Pedro, or especially when Cole Palmer gets back. That definitely changes up your lineup, how you situate your lineup then. But for now, give him that chance in the next run out and see how he does. But I don't know. I do think Garnacho's home is in Chelsea long term. I think his home has to be somewhere else because again, there's 100 wingers over there. You got to find a place that doesn't have 100 wingers.
Speaking of João Pedro, I know it's getting close to Halloween. But that man is gone ghost. Went ghost like Mo Salah did a couple weeks ago.
He doesn't look like the guy I saw in the World Club Cup. That's for sure.
That's a fact.
But I don't know. I think that's another getting used to where you are. I mean, it's his first time. It's the EPL. It's different. Sometimes the adjustments are a little weird and I don't know how to describe it, but it's probably one of those situations where he just has to get comfortable where he's playing. And maybe with Cole Palmer being out there, it helps him out a little more once Cole Palmer comes back. Maybe this isn't the lineup that fits João Pedro. So that I'm not really putting too much stock into it just yet. I'm gonna have to. That's one of those check back in with me after the January transfer window, and let's see.
All right.
Let's see how he looks then. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was the one calling him Jal Jesus over the summer. So trust me, I definitely noticed he has gone a little quiet since the FIFA World Club Cup. But I do think that maybe it's just getting used to where you're at.
I feel that.
Esteban, on the other hand, he looks comfortable. He looks like he's been there for years.
He looks mad comfortable.
So we'll see. We'll see how that fares for those guys. Let's move on to Manchester United, Brighton Hove and Albion. Great game for me. I mean, I'll say this. I thought after the Liverpool game, United was gonna go back to being United, the United we all know and love, the dumpster fire that I always call them, but they're looking good. They're on a hot streak. Cunha got an early goal. And Bomo's looking like he's getting ready to be something of a force in the EPL. And I have to say, Manchester United is starting to look like the Manchester United of old, like the Wayne Rooney days, the Alex Ferguson days, where they're playing with that kind of confidence. I'm not saying they're any bit comparable to that team. I'm not going to go that far, but you see flashes of cohesion, and maybe this is what gets Almiron out of the doghouse for me. But I don't know how do you view it?
I do think this kind of gets him out of the doghouse a little bit. But I think we forget that one, yes, Cunha and Bruno Fernandes are essentially running the attack on this team now. Cunha's he's put his footprint on the team, and he's become reliable to them. But we forget that Brian Mbeumo was top 5. He was top 5 in goals in the EPL last year. So it's not like they added a whole lot of goals to their team. So I think we just need to, we can't forget that the fact that, they did upgrade their team. It just takes time for everybody to gel at one time.
Yeah. And I mean, it wasn't, to me, it was never that Chelsea was going to, I mean, it was never that Manchester United was going to lose the game, but it did feel like they even when the goals started coming in from Brighton Hove Albion, they still didn't look like they were shaken or stirred in any way, thinking that this could be the end of the game for them. They played with, again, that confidence that I haven't seen from them in a long time. I do believe that this isn't sustainable for them. I think there's going to be a time where this kind of goes back to, I'm not going to say back to the Manchester United of old, but there's going to be a struggle towards the end of the season, because I just don't think they have I still don't see, without taking this game out of the rotation, I don't see that they've done anything to improve, to make themselves a consistent competitor. I think this is just like a hot streak. I think this is like a really clear hot streak to me that has to eventually come to an end.
Yeah, I can see that. Once other teams, start really digging into the film and seeing, once we stop these 2-3 players, what do they have? We can game plan around these 2-3 people, and then after that, it's kind of free will on our side.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, again, Almiron is so far justified all the transfer moves, justified all the speculations in the summer, because his team is performing without Rashford, without Garnacho, without all these guys they let go. So we'll see. I'm putting a pin on this one. We'll see.
Are they performing?
I mean, you got to give them their credit. You got to give them their credit, and also credit to Danny Welbeck, because anytime he plays Manchester United, he's getting a goal.
Bro, I don't understand Danny Welbeck. Like, bro, where do you keep coming from?
That's the thing. Here's my thing about Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck, I've been a big Danny Welbeck fan even from like the high school days, because I remember I was like, oh man, this guy's a baller, whatever.
Yeah.
But even when he was with Arsenal, or even when he was with wherever he was, if Manchester United is on the schedule, locked in, he turns into Michael Jordan flu game. He turns into Wayne Gretzky game 7. He turns into every single. He's gonna perform, and I mean, Danny Welbeck's one of those guys who's always been he's always been a journeyman in the EPL, but he's always been a consistent player. I do think we forget that maybe he at one point he was one of those guys who could have been on the English national team, getting some significant PT, but came up in the Southgate era. So what can you do?
Yeah.
But hey, hats off to the guy, because that set piece, even though Lehman's probably could have put his hands on that a little better. A goal's a goal, and anytime it's United, he's gonna get a goal.
That's a fact. Yeah. He's as consistent as, especially when he's getting the consistent play time.
Mm-hmm.
He's as consistent a player as you'll find in the league, for sure.
And also hats off to Brighton, because that's a competitive team, and they've never really gotten any hardware, but they always come out and compete. They are always willing. They're always able to shake things up. So I do think that comes into play too. Like he's on a great team that's allowing him to be that great player, and he's got the experience and the wisdom to pass on to people if it ever came down to it. So, hey, hats off to the man.
And they beat Newcastle week before, so you know.
I care about that. Not worried about Newcastle. All right, let's move on to the opposite. And here's another thing. We're going to talk about Liverpool and Brentford, but it's crazy how I thought to myself, oh no, Liverpool will bounce back and Manchester United is going to go back. So like the opposite of what I said happened. So maybe I'm right sometimes, but I'm wrong all the time. But Liverpool, again, with another loss, 2-3 to Brentford. No Isak in the lineup, so there's no scapegoat on this one. My takeaway from this is Arne Slot is now officially in the hot seat. I don't know what else. There's no other way to put it at this point, because it's not just one loss. It's not just two losses. This is like what, loss number five? Four or five,
something like that. Yeah.
At some point we have to talk about, like, I understand he won last year, but at some point you have to get a grip on reality and say, okay, now I see what's going on. You don't know what you're doing right now. You're in over your head. We bought these players that we're not even using now at this point. We have a defense that is clearly vulnerable. Anytime you watch the game, it's the same thing, and it's over and over again. They get that, like, once a team gets ahead of steam heading towards that defensive line, anything it's a flip of the coin of what can happen with this team. And for me, you got to do something. You got, like, I don't know what January holds for this team, but you have to do something to like at the least save your job, but save this team from embarrassment, because you're supposed to be competing. The Arsenal's they're not walking away with it now because there's other teams competing with them, but you were supposed to be the team that was competing, and now it's like, where are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, no, they look soft right now. It's weird because, like, they have a back line, and they have midfielders, and they have forwards, but it doesn't seem like they can put it all together. Like, it's weird. Like, their midfield arguably is one of the best midfields in the league. So, like, I don't know. There seems like a disconnect between each three phases of their team, and I don't know if that's the midfield needs to get more involved, or if their back line needs to get more involved in the offense, or something. Maybe their forwards need to get more involved with the defense. There's some sort of disconnect that I don't think they're able to figure out yet. So I don't know how you fix it. Maybe change up your midfield. Maybe you do need to go more defensive, and only have Florian Wirtz out there versus Wirtz and Soboslai. It's something weird that they can't seem to figure out.
So to piggyback on what you're saying, from what I see is, like you said, there's something with the midfield, but to me it looks like this. They have a good midfield, but they have a good attacking midfield. I don't see a real all around defensive midfield, or it just looks like attacking players in the midfield. And even when you get to the defense, it's the same thing to me. Like, Kirkes is not really, he's a defender in name, but he's pressing forward. He's a guy that's gonna, like, he scored as well. So it's like, he's like Trent Alexander-Arnold. They want to go forward. You don't need you have enough of that on the team already. And then you signed Isak to go forward. You signed Ekatike to go forward. You have all these players already up there. When the ball gets past them, there's nobody to stop it. And you can't put it all on Virgil. And I get it. I've said last week that Virgil was probably losing a step, and he is definitely losing a step. But it's like it's not all on him at the same time, is what I'm realizing, is because you've put him in a position to fail. You put him and Konate in a position to fail with not putting defensive midfielders on the field. And if nobody's going to acknowledge that, fine, but that doesn't change the facts. It's just not working right now. And you have to get somebody, you have to get a central defensive midfielder in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but Chouameni could fit into that team perfectly. He's a defensive midfielder that could. Camavinga as well. Like, there are so many Real Madrid players that could come to this team and probably save it. But that's the type of player you need, though. Like, you need something back there that's a link between that midfield, the attacking midfielders, and the defense. But you just don't have it. You have a very fractured set of like, it's almost like the team is in thirds: defense, midfield, and attack. But the offensive third and that midfield are also basically the attacking third.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's no real balance in the team right now, and I really hope they don't lose again on this week. But it's not looking good. Like, probability isn't in their favor at this point.
Yeah, I don't think Arne Slot has anything to worry about. I think he's gonna be there for the season. They're like I always say, talent always prevails. But do you think, well, not do you think, the one thing that I've noticed from last year to this year, one person's missing. Luis Diaz. You know?
Yeah, I mean, but
maybe the team went as he went. Maybe it wasn't Mo Salah's team. Maybe I'm saying some crazy things right now.
And I'm with you on that. Luis Diaz was a factor, but I don't think that's enough to just make it look to change the team around this much. If they were like struggling to get to like that top 3, and we were like looking at them like, okay, they're still a Champions League contender, they're still gonna be in that race at the end, maybe you could say it's missing Luis Diaz. But for me, it's like, this is like, it almost feels like you lost the whole team. It feels like this is a completely different team, or maybe this is like that coach's confidence, where like I look at it and I compare it to what happened with Chelsea under Jose Mourinho the second go around. Got a little confident in himself, and he started just changing around team lineups to make it to something that, like, trying to just change the complete identity of the team to fit what he wanted, so he could say he did something completely different instead of sticking with what's working. Maybe that's what's happening. And this is like one of those, maybe there's something that's happening on the training ground that we're not seeing, that's completely different from what they've been used to, and they're not used to, and it's hard to adjust to. But to just put it all on missing Luis Diaz is hard for me. It could be possible, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if that's just it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not, but
yeah, and I mean, I really do believe that they have to, like I said earlier, they have to do something within this January transfer window to just to if not just to be a shock to the system, to just appear as if we're trying to do something to fix this. But
if I could throw out a name, out there,
do it.
Crystal Palace, Adam Wharton, future England national. I think he'll be a solid defensive midfielder that they could bring in January and really kind of settle that team in.
I mean, maybe. I don't know if he's on their radar, but if they're listening,
hey, ball knowledge.
Get on footballmanager.com right now and see what happens.
Ball knowledge.
All right, so let's move into the El Clasico, biggest game of the weekend, and boy, it did not disappoint. Before we get into the game, let's just talk about the pregame talk that was going on between Lamine Yamal and Carvajal. Yamal said Real Madrid cheats and lies and steals or whatever, and I guess that rubbed Carvajal the wrong way and came to a head at the end of the game. We'll talk about that later, but I do enjoy seeing Lamine Yamal bring back that energy into this El Clasico, because
I
for the
love
last couple El Clasico, it seems like it's been it's a rivalry game. We're gonna play hard, but there's never been like the Messi versus Pepe versus Cristiano Ronaldo type
Yeah.
of like ferocity in it. And who knew all it took was an 18-year-old kid that loves to party? We should do this a long time ago. We
Facts.
should. But the game ended 2-1. A lot of talking points, but I want to first start off with the early calls and no calls, especially with Lamine Yamal and Vinicius Jr. in that first PK, or PK that was given and taken away through VAR. Here's what I saw. I saw Lamine Yamal making a play for the ball and Vinicius Jr. kicking the back of his leg. And what I think the VAR officials saw was two people making a play for the ball, so you can't really call that a foul. I understand taking that call back, but at the same time, I've seen that call go as a PK plenty of times before. And this is where I get back to that whole VAR has to figure out the rules and how they're going to implement the rules in these games. Because there was also another VAR a VAR call that I'll get to later with the penalty in the second half, but to me it's just like, this is where, okay, we have to define if a player's trying to make a play for the ball and then an attacking player kicks the back of their foot, are we going to call that a penalty in the box, or are we not going to call that a penalty in the box? Similar to like in football, okay, at the back of the end zone, you have to have at least 2 feet touch, and then you have to make those put into plain language so everyone can see it. And the other portion is just like in the EPL, where they announce on the microphone on a PA system to the entire stadium what they're doing. They need to do that in La Liga, because I'm sitting there and I'm watching the game and I'm like, so wait, what's going on? And they don't really explain. And you can't not have the referees explain why they overturn something. That does help ease people's mind on VAR as well when it comes to these situations.
Exactly. Now we need to know like what's going on through their minds as they're making these different calls, while as they're looking frame by frame at this play. You know, what do you see from a referee's perspective that the fans need to be keyed in on, so that you know, like you said, to ease our minds, okay, this is actually working. There's actually, you know, letters of the law that they're following, protocols and stuff, and things that they're looking at like that. So yeah, but I think ultimately, if it's a huge decision like that, I think ultimately they need to give the ref all of the information that they have, and the on-field ref needs to make the final call, because it seemed like VAR kind of made the final call, and it's not, especially something like this where it's, you know, this is a Clasico. This is one of the biggest rivalries in the world in any sport. So I think the on-field ref needs to make the final call.
Yeah, and then to me it feels like, just to go back to that, I agree with you on all that, but to go back to the whole not saying it in the intercom, it kind of gives like shady scam, like, oh, we're just trying to call this so we can make this an exciting game. That's why we're taking this PK away, because we think this PK will just end the game. It felt like that for me, just from a neutral perspective. So yeah, I'm with you on all of that, and I just really don't understand how at this point with VAR, because VAR isn't new at this point. VAR has been around for a good amount of time, and we're still sitting here having the same arguments every time we have a call. It's almost as if you might as well just not have it. And I trust me, I'm not a person who doesn't want to have it, because we've seen how games go when we don't have VAR. It's obvious robbery calls being made that don't get addressed. And then to move on from that, Mbappe, my God, I mean, he's playing great, but he's getting better than he was last year, but he jumps the run a little too fast sometimes, and that's why he gets to these offside goals. Because that first goal that was called back off offsides, oh my,
yeah.
He's looking like he's found his form in Manchester. I mean, at Real Madrid though, because I remember at one point we were talking about his struggles and thinking that maybe this might not be the team for him. Maybe they need to move on to Endrick, which, you know,
wild.
But now it seems like he's showing the world, okay, I am the greatest striker in the world, and I'm gonna prove it. I know you guys like Harry Kane and Erling Haaland, but don't forget about me. I got a World Cup to my name. That's what this game represented for me from Mbappe. He definitely stepped up.
Yeah, you remember when we were little and we were offsides every 2 minutes, and our parents should just throw the arms up like,
Yeah.
that's what I felt like watching this game. I felt like I felt like I was watching me. Well, I felt like watching us like when we were little, like offsides again.
Quick side
Offsides
note.
again.
Quick side note. Just to talk about offsides. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even understand offsides until I was in like middle school. That's just bad American soccer training. But I would literally like look at my dad like, I don't know, I'm just running.
He's out there running, boy.
I'm just going. They said to run, I ran.
Get to the ball. I'm gonna get to the ball.
But yeah, but like Rashford got his, and let's talk about that equalizer because we got to talk about Rashford. Rashford got that. Rashford another goal contribution to Fermin Lopez to get another to get that equalizer. He looks comfortable. He looks comfortable at Barcelona.
Extremely.
He's a good source of production when they're struggling, and I do believe he's going to be there to stay. Like this game kind of solidified it for me. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that they're gonna initiate that clause to pay him whatever they have to pay him to keep him with Barcelona, at least for the time being, at least for the next 2 or 3 years until they find something else. But my God, he stepped up in this game. I don't think there's like, this is the biggest game in soccer by far, and I don't think that any other game is going to be, if he could do it in this game, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he's going to be able to do it in any other game versus anybody, especially in the Champions League, where he's been in the Champions League before, but now he's going to be able to actually compete in the Champions League.
Yeah, he's been as consistent as solid as they come for, you know, a left winger / striker in any team. For me, Lopez also been going crazy the last couple games, so you know maybe they found something there too.
Yeah,
maybe Barcelona has found something in their front, you know, 5 or 6 players that they can really work with, which is dangerous for the rest of the world.
I think it's a testament to just how good Barcelona's entire structure from top to bottom is that they can just find another guy that's gonna get them that's liable to get you a hat trick at any time. It goes back to, I mean, I get it. Again, these are two of the most historic clubs in the world, and I think people will still put Real Madrid historically ahead of Barcelona just because of the production they've had and like the players they've had. But you got to give it to Barcelona's ability to just create from the ground up in their home and find people from all across the world, put them in their academy, build them up to be stars, and bring them to the first team. You don't see a lot of that.
They got to. They ain't got no money. Broke boys. They got no money.
Hey, they got that. They use Bitcoin to buy their players now. I guess they don't need money anymore.
Spotify streams.
Yeah. But let's talk about before we get into the game winner with Bellingham, which was it was a very self-explanatory goal. Let's talk about that penalty call on Garcia, where it's also like, what is a handball? Like, what is a handball at this point?
Right.
Like, the commentator said it the best. If you slow anything down, it's going to look like something it wasn't in the run of play.
Exactly.
His hand is, to me, moving your hand 5 feet from your side, moving your hand all the way up from your side and moving it slightly up as you're sliding and coming back up. It's a natural movement.
Right.
I do think a ball don't lie situation kind of came about because they missed a PK, so no harm, no foul. But it's just one of those things. This could have tilted the scale of the game, and we all kind of agreed, especially me sitting at home, like, that's not really, to me, a call. And it's also the intention. The ball bounced off Bellingham. He didn't know anything about it. It bounces off him and then goes back towards Garcia to get that handball. So you can't even come up with, there's no way you can come up with the rationalization that he purposely did that. Nobody knew where the ball was going to go at any point. And again, going back to what I said earlier, this is VAR messing it up.
Yep. No, I agree. Like, you know how in modern soccer, you know, defenders defend with their hands behind their back. Like, what was he supposed to do? Slide with his hands behind his back?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such an unavoidable situation.
Yeah.
That to give a PK on that is crazy.
Yeah, it's astonishing to me at this point because I'm going from thank God we have VAR to like, maybe this is it. Maybe this will be what puts the hammer in the coffin. I don't know what to do at this point, but that's for some people who get paid more than me.
No, facts. Yeah.
Now let's talk about my favorite least favorite player on Real Madrid, Vinny Jr. Like he gets
Vinny,
subbed off and has the temper tantrum of all temper tantrums that I've ever seen
man,
in my life. And I just want to say this. I don't think he understands anymore that he's playing for Real Madrid. I think he thinks that he is Real Madrid. And I don't understand how you can't get wrap yourself around the fact that I'm playing for a team that has so many other great players. Rodrigo's coming off the bench for this team.
right?
Think about that for a second. Rodrigo. I honestly could argue that Rodrigo's probably, and this is gonna sound crazy, if he got more PT, we'd be talking about him like he's one of the greatest players in the league in the world right now. He just doesn't get that PT because this team has so many other guys that they have to get out there. But you don't see him throwing temper tantrums. You don't see him complaining. I mean, I'm sure I do believe that at one point he was trying to get out of Real Madrid, but that's just him trying to make a better career move for himself. Because, like I said, when he leaves, we're gonna see he's one of those guys. Like he's up there with Mbappe. He's up there with Erling Haaland. He can score. Anytime I've seen Rodrigo play, I've never seen him make a mistake. But to get back to Vinny, it's like, dude, you're not helping yourself. You gotta eat it sometimes. Sometimes they're gonna take you off to put somebody else, and this is El Clasico, and you're gonna see this team again. They're trying to get people. They're trying to save legs, and maybe they're trying to preserve you. But
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's he's a young guy. I was a hothead as a young guy too. Maybe that's just what it is. But I don't know what to do with at this point.
Yeah, I think one, yes, you do have to realize your situation. Maybe they are trying to, save legs and stuff like that. But I don't really see a reason why he was subbed off. Like he was playing well. It wasn't like he was, giving the ball away and doing stuff like that. He was getting good shots on goal. He was contributing on defense. Like he was doing a lot of really good things that typically you don't see people get subbed off for. So the only thing I can say is I guess they were trying to save legs, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they do have matches midweek. So I don't know. It didn't seem like he should have been pulled off, but I do think you do, and there was a lot of emotion going into this game too, right? So like you want to finish it out. You want to see it through. Got to see it through, my boy. Got to see it through. So I think that he really wanted to do that, and he wants to help his team win. So the fact that he probably felt like he couldn't finish doing that. But you got to keep those emotions in sometimes, especially a game like this. Like you're already winning, like you gotta find a way to internalize those feelings a little bit. And then it boiled over on the bench. So it was like,
well, that was
come on, man.
that was typical Real Madrid Barcelona.
Yeah, like you're already winning.
Let's fight now.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But for me, I look at that substitution as, they're just trying to waste time. They're trying to get somebody off the field. They're trying to save legs. To me, it was a typical substitution. All right, we got to get somebody off so we can waste a little bit of time, save a little bit of legs. Let's save Vinny's legs. I didn't really understand the meltdown at that point because I'm just like, right, what? But maybe he wanted to stay out there to finish the game so he could be closer to Yamal when they start fighting. I don't know. But it's just one of those things. You gotta keep it in because you're already a target to the media. You're already a target for people. You're already the scapegoat when it comes time for like, this team's got a bad attitude. It's him. It's Vinny Jr. He always thinks he's this. He always thinks he's that. And it's just, for me, it's just one of those situations where you just can't give people that. You can't give people that easy out about you because, again, Vinny is a great player. Vinny is a Ballon d'Or hopeful one day. He competed for but he is, for me, well in contention to eventually win a Ballon d'Or off talent alone. But you gotta understand where you are, and you gotta understand where you are when he has to understand when he first came to Real Madrid, he wasn't the player we thought he would be. A lot of people thought he wouldn't last long there. Eventually, he got better and he improved himself and he improved his team play, and now he became that. So you can't question the system that built you up to be as good as you are after the fact. Because without Real Madrid, I don't think we get this version of Vinny and this talent that's coming out of him. He had to learn from Karim Benzema and all those guys from the old regime of Real Madrid to get to where he is today. So respect the decisions that are made now that they're trying to get the next set of guys, or just the game plan to come to fruition the way they expect it to.
Right.
That's just where I stand on that. But
Right. Yeah, because I mean, even as a coach from Xabi Alonso's perspective, if you're just gonna blow up like that every time I pull you off, like I'm not even gonna play you, bro. Like
exactly.
I rather you just be on the bench the whole time
exactly.
than
you don't want
have that in front of cameras.
You don't want to be in a situation where you're going back and forth with the coach, because the coach is just gonna take you off.
Yeah,
you won't be on the field at all.
Yeah, I saw something that was like when Vinny was like, "Why are you subbing me off?" Xabi Alonso was like, "You pretty she's like, go over there, like be quiet."
Yeah.
So, I mean, I respect to him though for pulling him off. Well, the one thing I can say about Xabi Alonso is he is not afraid of this team. He's not afraid to do what needs to be done or what he thinks should be done. He knows that the Barcelona board has put him in control of this team.
Real Madrid board.
Sorry, yeah, Real Madrid board. They've
Yeah.
put him in control of this team, and they have their full faith and trust in him, and he's taken that and he's running with it.
Yeah,
So
I
hats off.
100% agree.
Yeah,
and I think that just goes to he's been on this team before as a player, and he's doing what he was taught growing up with this team.
Yeah.
We're playing this way because this is the Real Madrid way, and this is the way it's been successful for all these years.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny can't come into it and just say, well, I don't care that it's this way, I'm Vinny Jr. You know how many other players have been on this team besides Vinny Jr.? Come on now. Like
right.
there's too many names that are players that, no disrespect to Vinny, are just better players all time that he'll never compete with, that have had to be taken off to the field to make way for somebody else at some point or another.
Right.
You can't just act like this is me. Like maybe if you were at a smaller club you could do that, but you're not. You're the biggest. You're literally the biggest soccer club in the world.
Club in the world. Yeah.
Now let's get into the WWE match that started after the fact. After the game, I think it was Carvajal that started approaching Vinny. I started approaching Yamal, talking. Everybody gets in the way. Courtois gets in the way, and it's just a whole gathering of both teams onto the field. Again, I get it. Yamal said what he said, but we have to realize this is the first time Real Madrid has won in like 5 meetings. Don't be a front runner, guys. Like,
yeah.
At this point, we understand what Lamine Yamal is. He's an entertaining soccer player. He talks a lot. He's outside doing a lot of extracurricular activities. That's just who he is as a player. And Carvajal has to, like, I get it. He says something about the team that you guys are on, but you're going to the World Cup and you're going to be playing right next to him and you're going to be hugging up on each other. I get it. Spirit of the rivalry, but it's like when it gets to the point where you're like getting ready to like act like we're gonna fight, and then Lamine Yamal's telling people, let's meet in the tunnel if you want to fight. It's like, okay, cool. It's very performative. You know they're not gonna let you fight in the tunnel. Like, come on. And Lamine Yamal is like this big. He's skinnier than me. And, like we know nobody's getting ready to fight, but it's just like, all right, guys. Let's tone it down a bit, and especially I want to talk about my boy Jude Bellingham and his tweets. Not his Instagram posts.
Yeah.
Like to do the talk now thing is like, all right, man. I get it, you won, but where was this when he beat you the last 4 to 5 times as a 16, 17-year-old?
Yeah.
He was talking then too.
he was very much talking then too.
So it's just one of those. I don't know. I feel like that everybody just put their missiles on Lamine Yamal after their first win, and I don't really understand that because he did beat you all those times before.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say, that he was wrong. Yeah. I get it. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't done it, you do what you can to, like, especially when you've beaten the team, like, why not try and get up under their skin? See if it works. It clearly didn't work this time. They lost, but like this is sports is rivalries, right? It's all it is. It's competition. So I think this just added fuel to the fire for the competition. And did it boil over a little bit? Yeah, it did. But I think I think until the end, most of the talking was done on the field between these two teams. So like, I think it was a case of, some bench players not happy, talking like starters, I guess.
Yeah,
and,
that's
and then
exactly.
boiled over off the field.
I mean, and again, you're gonna see Barcelona again, and I thought this game would end in tie. It didn't, but let's be real. They're gonna get Barcelona's gonna be back next game, and I would not be surprised if they win it because they're gonna definitely be in a more of a we need to win this game situation now that they're behind 5 points to Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
So if they come back and win, and Lamine Yamal still is talking, then what? Like all that, we finally beat them, cool, but the season's still young. This could easily turn around for them. They could be in a situation where they need to beat you to get ahead of you, and then we're back to saying Lamine Yamal is who he is. But to try to make Lamine Yamal this giant public enemy number one, especially from Carvajal, come on, you're going into a World Cup year.
Yeah,
I get it. You didn't like that he was talking. Address it. Maybe talk your stuff back, but getting in each other's face and trying to fight.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it from a neutral fan's perspective. That's the type of game we want to see, but at the same time, it's like, all right, man, like it's an 18-year-old.
You this is little bro. Like this is little bro.
Is your little cousin talking smack on the basketball court in the driveway. Okay, he's your little cousin. Go,
whatever.
We won. Shoe fly. Like
right.
It's one of those situations.
Spanish national team. The Spanish national team is 80% of these two teams. So
exactly.
Like, what are you just gonna start talking trash for no reason?
You guys are gonna be hanging out all summer in America, taking pictures next to the Empire State Building,
right? I wouldn't even listen to that noise if I were a Real Madrid fan.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, it's all in the spirit of the game. But before we close it out, where do you think this leaves Barcelona? What do you think's next for them?
They bounce back. I don't know who they play next weekend in league play, but I know they have a game midweek, so I think they'll be fine. It's just a classic El Clasico. Somebody I'm very glad somebody won. So now they can go back to the drawing board and figure out what they need to. I think they have nothing to worry about. They're gonna go back out there and keep doing their thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is just another we saw what we did wrong. We know how to fix what we did wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised if the next El Clasico matchup between them and Real Madrid turns out to be a very one-sided event in Barcelona's favor, just to tip the scale back in their favor. They're gonna have there's no way. I mean, Barcelona's never gonna be a lay down and take it type of team that's just not gonna like fight back and try to get their points back because they're trying to win the league just like everybody else is, or just like these two teams are, I should say. So I don't really see this being much of a factor long term.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yep. And with that has been another episode 4 of the World Soccer Daily Podcast, an Arc Soccer Collective original. Make sure you guys like and subscribe everywhere you get us. ArcsoccerCollective.com on Instagram, Twitter, Substack, all that. We'll be back Wednesday with another episode where we'll get into some Champions League play and some tabloids going across the soccer world. And with that, we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Peace.
It's crazy.